there's reason to have a lot of doubt, or at least some doubt, about recently when Derek Lunsford posted some update pics of him. They were about 4.5 weeks out from the Arnold Classic. People started to question whether he's going to be ready in time. He did not look like he was on schedule. Yes, the body can change a lot in 4 weeks, and I don't know what Derek's body is capable of doing, but he didn't look like he was on track, and questions arose. Now, more questions are, I think, have arisen. Watching a recent Menace podcast, listen to Chris Cormier. Now, Chris Cormier is part of Team Lunsford as well as Chris Aceto. Chris Cormier has been helping Derek with the posing, and I'm sure that at the very least is some advice given to him as far as training goes, and Chris Aceto handles everything else. On this podcast with uh, Dennis James, Milo Sarchev, Chris Cormier, they're the regular crew. When they're going into a competition, when the weeks are leading up to a show, they start doing week by week predictions. Usually the top six. They predict the top six placings, and they do it weekly. So these picks could change week by week depending on what they see and update picks. Okay, now they're doing their picks on the upcoming Arnold. Now, all along, Chris Cormier was picking Derek to win the show. Besides these contest predictions they do during podcasts leading up to the Arnold, Chris kept on raving about these improvements that Derek is making. Okay, all along, Chris Cormier is picking Derek to win the show. It's 8 days from when I'm filming this. We're 8 days away from the Arnold, and I just saw this Menace podcast, most recent one. I think it was filmed a few days back. It's still less than a week and a half out from the Arnold. Doing their weekly predictions, interestingly, Chris Cormier was part of Team Lunsford, who's been raving about these improvements that Derek has made. He's making these raves week after week, and week after week, he's been picking him to win the Arnold. All of a sudden, has Derek second behind Samson Dauda. It's really making me wonder, was those images that we saw of Derek a few weeks ago, was that really an indication of the direction he was going leading into the Arnold? And hearing Chris Cormier put Derek back to second was really that came out of left field. Now, Dennis James was a little surprised, put Chris on the spot, and he really didn't elaborate, but got the impression that he was just with Derek very recently. I guess working with posing, and he indicated that he wasn't happy with something. And like I said, he didn't elaborate, but the fact that those pictures uh, came out a few weeks ago. Chris Cormier, who's part of Team Lunsford, who's been raving about him, who's been picking him as the winner, all of a sudden, just before the show, out of left field, has Derek down to second, indicates there's something that he wasn't happy with, not elaborating, makes me really start to worry what's going on with Derek. Now I'm starting to question, is it a possibility that Derek could drop down to third or even lower? I don't know what's going to happen. Like I said, it's 8 weeks from the time it's 8 days from the time I'm filming this to when he'll be standing on stage. And until then, we don't know, but there's reason to have a lot of doubt, or at least some doubt, about the package that Derek Lunsford is going to present on the 2025 Arnold Classic stage. If you agree, disagree with anything I said, let me know in the comments section. This is Michael Diamond. I'd like to thank you for watching Muscle Central.